Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter where you are in the world, this is Inner Balance TV. I'm your host, Dwaine Hartman. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing Sidonie Bouchet, and she is from Australia, and she has a book out that's called Hallelujah. And also, she has a website that's called soul2soulsex.com. There's a higher level of sexuality for a more spiritual purpose. And she's also going to be talking about that tonight. So without any further ado, let's get on with the interview with Sidonie. Well, hello, Sidonie. Welcome to Inner Balance TV.
Hi, Dwaine. Thank you for inviting me.
So you're down in Australia, eh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down under.
Down under.
Uh-huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice weather down there right now?
No, it's actually really cold. We're going into autumn's winter. You're going into spring, summer, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I live in the hinterland area, so in the forest, so it gets colder. Yeah.
You're doing some very interesting things when it comes to helping people to align and helping people to come into some sacred things here, right? With your work, you have soul sex that's on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you're teaching people and sharing with people something very, very important. Do you want to elaborate on what you're helping people to recognize and realize?
Well, basically what's happening is I tap into the collective consciousness, and I stand as a channel for the collective consciousness in a way. So I feel into what is going on out there, and I basically share my take on it.
Right.
So I think, oh, okay, this is happening at the moment. What's my thought on it? Mm-hmm. And then I share that. And I try to give some sort of logical way of thinking, so that, or logical but intuitive as well, so that people can really go, oh, okay, that makes sense. So a lot of the time the comments I get back is, yeah, that's the truth. But that I'm basically just channeling that for the people to come back into their true essence and their true self. Yeah.
I agree. There's a lot of that going on where I find in the fourth dimensional confusion stuff, people are really confused about right, wrong, or values or everything, right? And they really need that clarity right from source energy as to what, and that's what you're helping people do.
Well, I'm helping myself ultimately.
Yeah, we always do, yeah.
And through my discoveries, I'm sharing them. Mm-hmm. I've just been very clearly told that by sharing what I have discovered, I can help others. So, yeah, it goes that way.
I know you've helped me. We did a session a while back, a couple of them, and you helped me to align to something that was holding me back from my past, really. And I know that I was amazed because, you stayed right on target, and no matter where the conversation went, you led it back to that point again and helped me to free something that was holding me back, and it wasn't even this lifetime. It was another lifetime. And I know what that is like and what you do, and it's fascinating. Very fast, very quick, and to the point, right?
Thank you. Yeah, so what I like to do is I basically believe that we've scattered ourselves energetically, so we've lost aspects of ourselves, and it's about coming back to wholeness. Mm-hmm. It's really not about being all positive and denying those aspects of ourselves. It's actually going, hold on a minute, there's a wounding here, and I've actually split off. Let me look at that wounding, or look at that aspect, look at that childhood issue, or that past life issue, or even a galactic issue. And look at that, and then bring it back, and then totally embrace it, so you can bring it back to yourself, so it fills you up again.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, with that, you do Skype sessions for people. I know you did for me. You do Skype sessions, right? Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. Because what was happening, I have a page, Soul Sex, on Facebook, and people were contacting me and saying, look, I can't get to Australia. How can I have some connection with you, or how can I have some advice from you or some guidance? And so I decided to set up the Skype sessions.
The one thing that I noticed with you and with our work together is that you're coming from an aligned place. Like when you talk about you sit in the collective conscious, or you sit there and you just sense what's going on. There's something that I don't know if you know that you're doing, but you're really truly channeling Source itself. Like my experience is of it, the truth, right? And that's how come people can go into their true nature, and because it resonates with the truth, right? Yeah.
So what I do is basically I ask first of all my higher self to connect up with the highest good of all, and then the person I'm with, I ask for my higher self to connect with their higher self, and in that way, then I'm basically connecting you up to Source. Although you know how to do that, it's like a mirror. Yeah. So I'm doing it, and then your higher self is doing the same thing, and so then you get clarity of really what is happening, what you need to look at, or what is missing in you at the moment. And it's really only a thought away. It can be just a thought away. But while we try to use our will over the divine will, we lose. We lose our connection to Source. We need to align our will to the divine will in order to be really totally connected to Source. And I think that's where a lot of the New Age movement loses that often, because they're very into manifesting what they want. But a lot of the time, they're not in alignment with Source. Yeah.
I posted this the other day on my page. I said, does anybody ever thought, to stop for a moment and actually tell Source, you're not alone, I'm here with you?
Yeah, I remember.
You should have seen the people that were rebutting that. Because they're so used to manifesting and taking from, they never thought to give back in any way, shape, or form. And it was just unreal that the reaction I got from that. I finally took it off, right?
Did you?
Yeah, I finally took it off, because it was just an area that people hadn't gone yet, and they don't want to go there just yet.
Yeah, I think I liked that post. Remember that post on my page? Yeah.
And so in this, you're also sharing with people a sacred sexuality, a sacred love. Hence soul sex, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So what happened was that I have a history of sexual abuse. And from very early childhood, but also from past lives. I've had not just sexual abuse, but my role is to bring light to sexuality, and that I had a medieval life of doing that. It's been a common theme for me, and so. I've been doing light working and working in festivals, gathering light workers for ceremonial performance. And then one day I just heard, okay, your time to do light working is changing now. It's no longer about just being all spiritual and nice. It's actually also about looking in one of the most darkest areas of our existence as humanity at the moment, and that's sexuality. We've lost the fact that, you know, the belief that sexuality is something that connects us back to source. We've forgotten that. It's become purely physical, and it's actually got very distorted. It's so beyond just reproducing children, but remembering that reproducing children, that's able to create a life force. So, you know, sexuality is something that is connecting us to our life force, and we can actually create all these amazing. This is true manifestation, really. We can use sexuality to do that. Yeah. So I've had my fair share of dishonourable sexuality as well. So it's not like I'm coming from, oh yeah, I've got it all together and you know, shine like me and you'll be like, you know, you'll be a bright light or you'll get it all right. That's certainly not where I've come from. I've really had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of healing in sexuality as well. But all along, I have been shown what divine union is.
Right.
And all along, I know it in my being. I've had dreams of it. When with my first lover as an adult, I had a dream that our heads opened up, and as our heads opened up, all our thoughts came out, both of us, and then created this DNA code, this DNA chain, all the way up to source. And I woke up, and he was looking at me, and I hadn't had sexual penetration as such with him. We'd, you know, got to know each other a bit, and I just went, I'm ready. And it was the most honourable connection I've ever had. He looked at me so deeply. We were so connected, and he said, okay, when you're really truly ready for me to enter you, and he didn't say my temple, but he definitely treated it like that. Say permissio, and I will ask you permissio, and you will reply avanti when you're ready. And when the time came, he said permissio, and I just nodded, and he said, no, I want you to say avanti. I want you to definitely allow me into you. And it was the most sacred experience in sexuality I've ever experienced, actually. Yeah.
There's a different level, definitely, of sexuality than what people are experiencing. People have a tendency now to, they're reaching out for more and more and more, more aggressive, more whatever, more and more and more, to try to get what's very simple, which is to honor each other. I mean, we've talked about this. I've had similar knowingness about sacred sexuality, and about looking into the person and seeing source itself. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's a sacred act. It's not just, you know, what's
getting your rocks off.
Yeah. To look into the person's eyes and see source. So it's source, literally making love to source.
And merging as one. Because if you are making love to source is everything. We are all divine aspects of the big ball of light, the source itself. And so as we look at our partner as source, we then merge truly. We go back to this oneness that, once again, the New Age world is all talking about oneness, but a lot of the time it's just an intellectual concept. It's not very often actually really there.
And it's a lot of times I'm hearing, it's a lot of times that it's oneness with this one and this one and this one and this one and this one. And really it needs to be oneness with a one. With a one, you know?
With a one who is connected with the one.
Yeah.
Who is connected to oneness.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's slightly different than what some are imagining oneness to be, right?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't want to sound like, someone who's putting down anything, but I think that the pornography industry is just as bad as the pharmaceutical industry. It's alienating ourselves from true essence, our true essence ourselves. And but basically people are discarding, they're looking at these images and discarding their life force energy. They're giving their life force energy to imagery, which is controlled by pornography. But it's actually disconnecting us further and further from our true essence.
Yeah.
I mean, I suggest in my work, I suggest to someone who has issues, who says, well, look, I'm really hooked on masturbating every day. And that's fine. If you want to masturbate, that's fine. But make love to yourself. Don't just get your energy out, releasing your pent-up energy to some image, which you don't even know the energy behind that image. You don't know the intent behind what this pornography is doing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. So in this, I mean, there's a different respect, a different soul love, if you will, with that we're trying to bring out here, that we're trying to talk about in this show.
Yeah. Sure. So the more you start valuing yourself, the more you will start valuing the other as well. So it really starts with yourself, then you value the other person. And then you realize you get to a point. And I mean, I really overdid sexuality at one stage in my life. I was very angry about the abuse that I had experienced as a child, and it was by multiple people. It started as a toddler, and I was very, very angry, but I also had learnt how to manipulate sex. I knew how to get what I wanted, how to be in control, in power. And, I'm not unique there. That's a very common thing.
Oh.
Very common. And also your anger. Like, I had a very, very big anger towards the male, the masculine. He'd done me wrong. He trashed my temple over and over again. And so when I finally realized, oh my God, what have I done? And it actually took a child for me. I had this amazing experience of one night I had a dream, and in the dream this angel appeared, but it was like a video, like looking at you right now. And so this angel appears going, hello, yeah, the only thing that will save you is to have a child. And then it fades. It's gone. I don't, that's it. And I wake up. And I'm like, oh my God, and in those days I was really living in the corporate world. I was very decadent. I was doing whatever I wanted to. I was very much controlled by my will. And yet this dream wouldn't shake off. It just kept following me all day long. And it was when I ended up having a child. Someone came, one of my exes rang me, and he said, "Sidonie, what is going on with you?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I had this dream," and I told him, and he said, "Yeah, that sounds right." And he said, "So who's the lucky guy?" And I said, "Well, there isn't a guy, you know. I'm not involved with anyone. I'm just doing whatever I want to do." And he said, "Well, I can help you out." And I don't know what happened, but I really believe Source intervened there, because what came out of my mouth was, "Yeah, that sounds right." And so he lived 1,000 kilometres away. I was, and I ended up jumping on a plane on a Friday afternoon after work, going to visit him. And and we partied hard, really, really partied. I slept with him once, and then I was pregnant with this child. And as I had this child growing in me, something in me about sexuality and sacred sexuality and innocence was really strongly growing in me simultaneously. Yeah. And that's when I had the turnaround.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's true. The child did save me, and I'm very grateful to my son, my first child. Yeah, for that.
Yeah. So, again, this, the innocence is another part of this, right? You know, the innocence that you were talking about, the innocence growing in you and being aware of innocence. And maybe your own innocence coming back to you, reminding you of your own innocence. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because, as you said earlier, guilt is a very big one with our society. And I did feel guilty. I felt like somehow it was my fault that I'd been abused as a little child. You know, I was told that I was very sexual, so, you know, I was asking for it. But children are naturally sexual in the sense that they're open to everything.
Yeah, that's not sexual. That's open to everything.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. But you can interpret it as,
Excuse me.
You know, it can be interpreted as sexual because they will, you know, move their bodies in maybe what evokes sexuality to an adult who's misinformed and not aligned to source, you know.
Can I share something about this? Because it's something
Sure.
that, you know, I kind of work with. Is that I see it as an energy, this dark energy. And this dark energy jumps from offender to the one who's offended. But the offender received it from somewhere too. So it's not our true nature as human beings. So adults sitting around seeing a little girl do that and taking it as something sexual, that's the dark energy in them, right? Witnessing that, right? And then acting on it, well, of course, that's dark energy too. And then it spreads to the one who gets offended, right? Meanwhile, true love, soul love is lost. Because thank God you listened, you had your son that brought you back to where you are now and doing what you're doing. But there's so many out there that hasn't happened to yet. And here they are with this dark energy, and it's clouding true love. So they're not, even when true love shows up, they can't believe it, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that in that incident, that energy jumps, and the end result of that energy is to do something to true love, to soul love, right? Would you agree with that, or do you think I'm on heroin?
Yeah. What it's reminding me of is that when I was being sexually interfered with and as a child, I would always think there was something in me that was just going, no, just keep loving them. Keep loving them through this. Keep just being your pure essence, and they will reconnect with divine union. But as I got older, I realized, hold on a minute, I need to learn boundaries here as well, because I'm being trashed, disrespected, and they're not actually getting they're not receiving from me. They're taking from me, but they're not receiving from me, which is a big difference.
Yeah,
they're giving to me what they want to give me, but they're not allowing me to give them back what my gift is. They don't. I mean, I don't believe they gave me a gift. Don't get me wrong. It was,
No.
But yeah. So there was for me, everything is an infinity sign. Your connection with me right now is you're giving, I'm receiving, I'm giving, you're receiving, and that is really
Healthy.
how healthy we're supposed to be. That's how we're supposed to be connecting, all of us. But when the will and a lot of these people are so angry, I'm very aware what you were saying about the perpetrator once upon a time being the offended by the victim.
Yeah,
that's very true. That they're and they have found, and I don't want to generalize, but they have found that what happens is mostly a male who is abused will become an offender, and a female who's abused will become a victim. That's normally how it perpetuates, but I don't want to generalize, because there's, male, female is within us. So you may have more of feminine energy within you that's dominating you, and a woman may have very strong masculine energy, and so she's not necessarily coming from her feminine. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I just want to share that I hear you, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I do want to share with you that I hear a lot of confessions here in my office, and I think it's equal, women offenders. It's just that men don't talk about it. They won't talk about it. Right?
Yeah.
Because one is that if they talk about it, then they're, there's another thing going on if men talk about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of,
Yeah.
They can have, I'm just saying, the women can be offenders too. Right?
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree about that. Yeah. Yeah. But really, anyway, it's not, offender or not offender. You're not
This
written
is
off.
happening.
This has happened. You've just been taken off your path for a while. Come back to source, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's about being accountable. So if you've offended, or if you've hurt, or you've done something wrong, you have to be accountable in order to come back to source. You can't pretend it never happened. You can't do this very common manifestation law that people are just doing, that, just think positive, deny it, it's not there, I'm going to keep accentuating what really is there, really there, I'm nearly convincing myself, and then bang. There's something missing in me that I haven't looked at, and that happens over and over again.
Now, there's the soul part of people, and then there's what happened.
Yeah, the story.
Yeah, but there's this dark energy that's happened. And so the soul, I just want to share with people, the soul in you is still right.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
this
right.
is something that's going on to and happening to humanity, and it's not specifically individuals that are playing this out. People need to have that knowing that they need to just release, they need to be able to deal with it, own it. This is what happened. I let this in, and come back to their soul, right?
And it's actually more like I disconnected from my soul.
Yeah.
And the more I reconnect with my soul and let my soul shine,
Mm-hmm.
it comes out.
Yeah.
It's no longer part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a really, really important thing, is we're having to, the way back, or the redemption, if you want to use the word, is to come back to self and to start shining your inner light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So with there's these areas that, you know, and you and I, and we hear a lot of the stories, right? I mean, it's happened to just about everybody on some, you know, level where they've been offended this way. But then there is this hope where they can come out of this and reclaim their own soul again, come back to their own soul. And so what was that like for you to let go of what had happened to you, that story, and step back into source energy? Because, I mean, we operate on a whole different system when we're sitting in that energy. You know, like you were saying, you hated men, you wanted to damage them for what they did, in a sense, you know what I mean? Like you wanted to get them back and all that. And then to step out of that and come into source energy and reconnect. What's that like?
What I want to just say before I answer that is that, it was I was trying to get my power back.
Yes.
So it wasn't really trying to get men back in a way. I mean, you know, because I never did anything particularly really bad, other than I treated them as disposably as I had been treated.
Yes.
You know? So that was my main offence as such.
As soulless as they treated you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like you just, that whole meat, you know, we're just a body. You're just a body. You're not a soul.
And when you came back into that, like with your son, this brought you back to your soul. Yeah.
Well, yes, but I don't believe I was ever disconnected from my soul as such.
No, we'd be dead. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, no one is really, ultimately. But what I do believe is that the more my soul, the more I started reconnecting with my soul strongly, the more it was going out of me. And it was a really gradual process. It wasn't an overnight, impregnated with a child, it's done, I'm back on track.
Yeah.
And even today, there are still things in me. It's like the polishing of a diamond. There are still facets of myself that need to be polished, like all of us.
Yeah, I agree. No.
Yeah. Did I answer you, or is there something I'm missing there yet?
What did it feel like to step back into that and start to expand? I mean, how much did that change everything in your life, basically?
Yeah. Okay. Well, to be honest, initially it felt scary because I was letting go of the familiar. Mm-hmm. You know, the games and the way I operated were very, you know, they ensured that I was powerful, and I had to let go of power in order to come back to empowerment.
Yes.
And so at first, don't think it feels great straight away, because it doesn't. Because you're in new territory again. I mean, it's very old territory because we know it. We're all ultimately just souls inhabiting a body, as you know.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But bit by bit, And it's still a work in progress for me. But bit by bit, I feel more fuller in my being, more supported by Source, rather than me grabbing out there to try to get support. It's like sort of I've now got an axis, whereas before I was, by holding on, I had no axis. So do you know what I'm saying? And
yes,
ultimately,
you're doing the movements. It's almost like you were swimming, and what you had to do was let go.
Yeah.
And come into it. Like, it's such a powerful thing to come into Source, to let go, and to trust. It's all about trust. And to trust and come into Source energy. Because you stop flailing.
Yeah, flailing.
And you literally say, to heck with it. Sink then. And you come into Source. Because it's something outside that's tricking you to say flail. And when you let go of that and you come into this, it's like, oh, I remember this. Right.
And it really is the Adam and Eve story in a way, the snake outside of us, you know, tempting us. And yet the snake within, the Kundalini energy, we're meant to be embracing the snake within rather than following the snake outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I find that interesting, that the sayings, so above, so below, so within, so without. Because everything that's outside is inside.
Yeah.
And that is the trick, is to keep people, the trick that's been played is to keep people on the outside so that you don't come inside to your empowerment, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the year of the snake. So it's really the great opportunity for us to actually embrace that snake, and allow it to come back in ourselves. Now, the poor snake has had a very bad rap.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's evil, but it's no more evil than anything else that's outside of us.
Well, I mean, that's why it was on all the temples, because it represents wisdom. It's actually wisdom. But, I mean, there's certain people wouldn't want you to go there and understand that wisdom. Right? Certain areas or whatever, energies. But truly, it's wisdom. And it's our internal wisdom, our internal...
Inner wisdom, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sitting in that sacred emptiness within yourself, amongst the stars that are within you, right? You are that source energy. And from that consciousness, you can sense all of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they say that every cell in our body has a universe within itself, you know, so we're just multiplying. That's how we're going to get back to oneness, when we realize that every particle is exactly the same, rather than...
Outside, inside, everything is the same. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we'll dissipate. There'll be no form left. We won't look like anything.
Well, you know, the thing that I've realized is they talk about dimensions and everything else, and the difference in dimensions and different states of being. And people are out there searching for this, but yet it's a shift in perception. When people get it, that it's just a shift in your own perception, and all of a sudden you can view it from a different point. All of a sudden it's like a whole new thing, but yet you're still sitting here in this chair, in this room, but yet it's all different, right? And people often think they have to go somewhere else to do that, but no, it's right here. It's all right here.
But that's only because they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to feel, because they've got this guilt and this shame.
Yes.
That really is what it all goes back to.
Now, what do you think people ought to do about that guilt and shame?
I think they need to just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it, and then own whatever they've done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Own it. Just, I did this. I fucked up. Oh, excuse me. I messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I messed up, and I need to change that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need to come back in alignment with source.
Yeah.
And that is coming back. So it's like coming back to your inside you, your soul, coming back to the soul of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
the soul of the world, the universe. You
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not about the thing is, this is the trap, is that the more guilty you feel, the more you don't want to look at it. But most of the time, and I've worked with people who have done really pretty, you know, in society's views, pretty bad things. But when they just look at it and own it, and they become accountable, okay, I did this, and it happened, and feel really truly remorseful, not to anyone, but to themselves for having disconnected.
Yes.
Then a healing occurs. Then there's space once again for the soul to come back in. Whereas the more you put that armor that it never happened, you know, and you're actually creating this very rigid suit around you, then source energy just it has trouble coming through.
It is shielded out too, right?
It's shielded out, that's it, yeah. Yeah.
They say to be a really good psychic, one needs to sit down and be able to open your mind to the person that you're with as well as the one you're reading. So when you're an open book and they can see everything, you open it all up. And then they open it all up. So when we're not doing that with each other, and we're closed off here, and we're peering here, right, then it doesn't work as well. Also, life doesn't work as well. But when we're an open book, you know, it just makes sense, right? I'm just using a different analogy.
Yeah.
And we're open like that, and we say, okay, these are the things, and this is what I've learned by them. You know what I mean? And it's okay for somebody to look into you, then it's okay for you to look into them and assist them, right?
And yet there will be a lot of people who have been open books all their lives, who have been trashed over and over again. And so to those people, it's about learning discernment. Mm-hmm. And there is a role for boundaries in life of hold on a minute, is what is happening right now in alignment with my true self? Is it okay that it happens or not? Mm-hmm. And that's where being an open book, it's true. I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, there are those people, especially who have succumbed to a lot of abuse. They have been so open, and they need to learn discernment and boundaries. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, and eventually they will be strong enough again in themselves to then come back to oneness with everything. But unfortunately, whilst others had total boundaries, there were some that had no boundaries. They were doing what I call premature oneness. You know, they had never forgotten that oneness was what it's all about. And so unfortunately, they weren't. You know, we were in a world of duality, and they couldn't function there. Now everything's changed.
Yeah,
we're now coming back to oneness. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
And that is the source in you is the source in me, and we are one.
Yeah.
And so in soul love. In that area of soul love where we look at each other in that respect and see that source within each other. And if we're to be in a partnership with somebody, that there's a difference between starting from the bottom up or the top down, right? And when we start from the bottom up, and it's just an act of release, and then try to make it go up to higher, it started in the wrong place, didn't it?
Yeah. So it has to start from the heart.
Yeah.
The midpoint.
From the higher self.
Well, no, I see it a little bit differently. I see it as we need to be connected to our higher self, but that it needs to start from our heart. Mm-hmm. That's how we join. That's this balanced cross. I talk often about the balanced cross. So we've got the connection to source and the connection to earth. But then from our heart, we have our connection to our brothers and sisters, to each other. Mm-hmm. So it's all very nice to be connected to source and connected to earth, but we're in oneness. We have to connect to our brothers and sisters as well, to all of us. Yeah, mm-hmm. And that's through the heart. And so if you connect with someone through the heart, you know, because often you connect on a spiritual level with someone and then the intimate level won't happen. It doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, there's a real source thing going on, but it needs to start from the heart and then go up to, you know, upwards and downwards.
Yeah.
That's my belief anyway.
Right, yeah.
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 But if we don't go to higher realms with it, then just relieving ourselves, then...
Oh, yeah. You can't just relieve yourself. But at the same time, we...
And expect it to go higher, you know.
No. It's got a lot further to travel. Mm-hmm. If it's from the base, it has to go up the whole way. If it's from the heart, it's, you know, there's equidistance between source and body. And let us not, and this is where there's been a lot of duality, has been the people who believe in the physical and only the physical. They're the hardcore, you know, materialists and those people. And then there's the spiritualists who only believe in spirit, you know. But ultimately, oneness is the unification of spirit and matter. Mm-hmm. And that, the easiest way to do that is coming back into heart. Mm-hmm. And hey, once again, I don't always get it right either. You know, I am not perfect, and I say that over and over again because I don't want to take myself too seriously here. Mm-hmm. Like I have a lot of understandings, but at the same time, I'm also here on this journey learning things.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. We're all there.
We're all there. We're all unfolding
Keep it real.
We're all unfolding this as we go.
And keeping it real. Mm-hmm. If I'm really being truly who I am, and you're being really real, truly who you are, we're also giving permission to those around us to be really, truly who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want. We want to all be truly who we are. And it's much easier then to be connecting and knowing who we're talking to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was going to say something about the soul love. You know, there was I can love your soul, but it doesn't mean that I have to like all your personality traits. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that by not liking some of your personality traits or someone else's personality traits, I don't love you. I still love you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at the God within the person.
Yeah.
And I say hello to them.
Yeah.
And what the personality does is up to the personality.
Yeah. And yet
I'm not attached to what the personality does.
No. But then the discernment comes in about, do I connect with this being? Does his personality or her personality match my personality and his personality? Because we are still in physical body at the moment. Mm-hmm. And so soul love, like for me, I love everyone's soul. I just love souls. I'm into souls. Mm-hmm. And so I love everyone. And my biggest lesson has been to learn discernment of, hold on, yeah, he has got a beautiful soul, but so does the other person and the other person. But is this really my match?
Yeah, yeah.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. And also, is that soul wanting the same as what I'm wanting?
Oh, big.
You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Or am I saving here and wanting someone to finally see me? Right?
Yeah.
There's that
Because
whole
I
thing too.
can't save myself. Yeah. That's
Or
right.
I can't see myself.
Yeah.
You know, and value that. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of healing people are very, have that issue of wanting to save someone. I mean, in my case, I so desperately wanted to save my father, but I couldn't. You know, I can't save him. He has to save himself. And a lot of little girls have that. You know, they're trying to save their father. So what would the man have? Does he have trying to save his mother? No. It's a bit different, isn't it? It's a bit more the approval of mother or something, isn't it?
Well, it's more the approval of mother, but I mean, to be honest with you, it was saving my father.
Okay,
For me
so
too.
maybe we're all trying to save the father.
You know, yes, the approval of mother and saving the father. What was it like for mother for you?
Pardon?
What was it like for mother for you? Like, were you trying to gain approval?
I was trying to gain approval, flat out. I was trying to gain approval, I think. But, with mother, yes, definitely trying to gain approval from my mother. Unsuccessfully.
So we maybe discovered something tonight here.
Yes.
Is
that we're all the same.
Yeah, that we try to save father, the masculine, and we try to get approval from the feminine.
Yeah.
Right? And I like those discoveries because then we can take a look at it and step back and go, have I been doing this? Well, then what about the fact that we have a divine mother and father?
Yeah.
Right? Or this isn't our job. And we stop trying to get approval and approve ourselves. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and I mean, we're on Mother Earth, and Mother Earth holds us. She holds.
And that approval's always there because she grew us.
That's it. Yeah. And Father Sky is, doesn't need saving. That's for sure.
But might need a hug. I'm telling you, I did that meditation where I went there and I actually hugged Source Energy and told it that it's not alone, I'm here with it. And I can't believe the feeling of love I've received from that. And that's all I wanted to do in that post that I had was to have people experience that. Right?
Yeah.
But it was like, it doesn't need anything. Well, maybe it does. Give it a go.
Or maybe you're still trying to save the father.
Could be.
Who knows? Who knows? We've all still got lots to learn, and luckily, in a way,
we're never too small to give Source Energy a hug.
No.
And that it doesn't need us, right? Because it completes the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, that infinity, that can, giving, receiving, and it's not taking. It's definitely not taking. Receiving is different to taking. Receiving is.
Yeah.
Taking is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is it felt really good coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a hug isn't. You gave a hug, but you receive a hug.
Yeah. It came right back.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long after I did it either. It was just like boom, whoa. Right?
Yeah. And we do have to reach up to source.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like, I'll just wait for source to come down on me. It's actually, we have to make a conscious
steps.
Yeah, make a conscious decision to align with source, to open to source. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's lovely to have a chat with you again.
Yes, lovely here too. And remember to look you up on Facebook.
Yeah. I also have a page, Soul to Soul Sex, SOLTOSOULSEX.com. And and also I've got a book coming up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. It's called Alleluia, and it's basically the journey from the dark into the light. And it's designed for anyone reading it to basically put their story. Once again, it's my story, but it's written in a way that your story will superimpose it, so that it's your healing journey back into the light as well. So, and it's dedicated to all those who have given up hope. It's really, so for those who don't have big darkness, it might not reach them as much as those who have really given up. Yeah. And then I've got another one coming out after that, Finding the God Within.
Cool.
And then a third one, which is about oneness and coming back to total oneness with everything. So, yeah.
Nice. When can we expect your book to come out? Be ready.
Oh, I'm hoping in the next month or so. So
okay,
soon.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And they can find it on your website?
So it'll be on my website, but it'll be on Amazon as well. And
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But if you're on my Soul Sex page and you follow my Soul Sex page, I'll let everyone know when it's out. So,
okay, good. So join up on the page and then you'll know when. Right?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much again. Any last words for the listeners?
I suppose I always come back with these last words. Bring it all back in, come back to self.
Yeah.
And rather than going out to find the answers, come back inside and reconnect with yourself. And there will be all the answers. Yeah, therein lies the answers. Yeah.
It's one of the oldest ways there is, isn't it?
That's it. It's nothing new. I'm not saying anything new.
But it's something that we need to do. And it's a very important message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come back to that divine relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everything outside of you will mirror that divine relationship with yourself. So anything that happens outside of you that you're not happy with, or any abuse, is basically just showing you aspects that you haven't looked at within yourself. That you need to become more and more connected to yourself. Love yourself. And it's not an egotistical thing. It's just to be the shining divine spark that you truly are. You need to make sure that there's not too much crap all over it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can't shine.
That's right.
And you can't, you're letting down the whole team.
That's right.
Because you're not shining.
And I know a lot of people will sit there and say, but I'm still doing this and I'm still doing that and I'm still doing this, and so I can't shine yet because I'm still not. That's a load. Just shine. Just shine. There's nothing that you can do that's so wrong that you can't shine. Shine.
I guess it's up, I think it's Nelson Mandela who said that it's our light that we're most scared of. And I think that's really true. A lot of people are really still scared of their light. And yet we need our light. We're nothing. We're just robots on Earth if we have no light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
And
Yeah.
communicating with each other without light, it's just robot kind of
Oh yeah.
communication too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and it's sort of a bit of an assault for those who have got light
Yeah.
to be connecting with non-light. You know, but we're all needing. We've all got it in us. Just switch it on.
That's right. Yeah.
Switch it on and stop excuses. You know, stop using excuses to, oh, I have to do this in order to have my light. No, switch on the light and all the other stuff dissipates. It all goes.
That's right. It does.
Because you only need one candle to light a room.
That's right.
Okay? Switch on your light and then the darkness goes. That's what I'm going to say goodbye on.
Okay. Well, thank you again. And thank you, everyone, for coming to the show. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye
Thanks.
for now.
Bye.